Hi guys, as you can tell by the title of this video, I will be reading a book by an author that I haven't had the best experience with, and that is Colleen Hoover. I will be reading All Your Perfects. Now, I have read one other book by Colleen Hoover, and that was November 9. And the reason why I read that book is because there was a lot of controversy surrounding that book when I first read it. Whitney from Witty Novels read that book and she hated it and she ranted about it, and everybody knew why she hated it. She wrote a very in-depth review about it, and some of the things that she said about the book, I was like, it's not good. I don't want to read this book. But Colleen Hoover is Desirai, who is one of my good friends. She's one of her favorite authors, and she was like, just give her a chance, you might like it. So I ended up reading the book, and for the most part I enjoyed the book. The first 3/4 of the books I really enjoyed, and I didn't see why Witty Novel was trashing the book so much. But then the ending happened, and I ended up, like, that ending just destroyed the whole book for me, and I ended up giving the book 2 stars. I would have given it 1 star, but I couldn't ignore the fact that I actually did enjoy the entire first 3/4 of the book. So I ended up giving it 2 stars. So reading that book just kind of like left a sour taste in my mouth when it comes to Colleen Hoover books, and I just didn't see myself picking up one of her novels for a while. But Chloe, one of my good friends, she read All Your Perfects and she raved about that book. She said it destroyed her. She said it was so good, and it kind of made me interested. So I decided to pick it up. I'm actually on my way to Chloe. Me, her, and Desirai's husband, John. We are going to have lunch together, and then we're going to a bookstore, so I might as well just bring you guys along with me, but I'll be listening to the book in my car ride because it is about a 45-minute drive to Chloe's house. So I finally got a few chapters in All Your Perfects, and I honestly haven't had any thoughts until I got to chapter 4, and she's talking about the fact that she can't get pregnant. It starts off where she says she's in grief because she can't get pregnant. She just got her period and she's grieving because of this. And at first I understood, because there's a lot of women who have this desire to have children, and that's completely understandable. That's a woman thing, you know. A lot of men as well want to have children, a lot of people. But then this paragraph comes in and she's saying reproduction is why we exist after all. Reproduction is required to complete the circle of life. And maybe I'm just like thinking weirdly into this, but it almost seems like she's not, it's to me, like this entire paragraph, it's like, it's not like she's grieving because she herself wants children so bad and her body just can't do it, but it feels like she wants children because she feels like it's her job to have children, or it's like a part of why we're in the world. She's like, we are born, we produce, we raise our offspring, we die. It's very mechanical, like there's no emotion to this. So I don't understand why she keeps saying she's grieving, but then this paragraph comes in. I'm so confused. It says that she's been trying to get pregnant for years, so maybe that's why it's so mechanical for her, you know, having to live through the disappointment month after month after month of not being pregnant, and made it mechanical for her. But I just found that whole paragraph a little weird. Maybe I'm weird for thinking that it's weird, I don't know, but I truly understand like her situation, because my sister went through infertility. My sister has been, her whole life she wanted to have children, and it took my sister 10 years. Like, she tried everything to get pregnant without doing the in vitro because she couldn't afford that. So it took her 10 years and she finally had a baby. And I remember when she told me she was pregnant, and I was so happy for her. And we were hoping and praying that the pregnancy would stick, because she's had miscarriages before, and she did. And she has 2 little boys, and I have 2 nephews, and they are amazing. And so I understand her grief. Alright, so I finished reading the rest of the chapter, and the whole chapter goes into like her struggles with infertility, everything that she's been through, and it's actually quite sad, and I honestly feel like I connect with her. I'm personally someone who is not sure I want kids in my life. That's just me. But she reminds me of my sister, and my sister has always been that person who truly wanted children. It was her dream to marry and have family, like a big family. And when she struggled with having children, it was really heartbreaking watching her believe that maybe her dreams weren't going to come true, you know? I understand her a little bit more. I mean, her dreams are obviously different from mine, but I understand her desire for that dream. And I understand, like, she feels almost like a failure for not being able to do this one thing. And like, I understand that. Like, there are moments in my life where I look back and I realize, what am I doing? You know, I feel like a failure. So I started off thinking one thing, but I definitely feel like I've definitely connected with this character a little bit more. Alright, so I finally got to chapter 19, and at this point it's just basically the same thing. They're still working out their issues over the fact that they can't get pregnant, and he ended up cheating on her, which is really bad. At this point, I really care more about the now than the then. The then is just them getting to know one another, you know, they're just being really, really happy, and the now is just them being really, really miserable over the fact that they can't get pregnant. And honestly, I really just care about the now more, because I really just want them to be able to work this thing out. I want them to have a happily ever after. Okay, so I got to a part where she had a miscarriage, and this entire time she's like so happy that she got pregnant. Instead of like being focused on the fact that she lost the baby, she was looking on the positive side of things, and she was like so excited because I got pregnant. And turns out that when she had the miscarriage, she was hemorrhaging, and they had to give her a hysterectomy. I have never been so devastated. This entire book, I was not expecting that. And I'm so sad for her right now. Like, I'm literally trying not to cry for her. That is so sad, and I can't even, oh my god. Okay, Quinn is the most frustrating main character I've ever read about. So they're finally confronting each other, and they're having this good conversation going. She's telling him what he doesn't understand, and he's telling her what she doesn't understand. And then he asks, if this is what our marriage is, if that's all it will be, just you and me without any kids, will that be enough? Am I enough for you, Quinn? He asks him that of her, and she knows the answer. She says, I stare at him in utter disbelief, unable to answer him, not because I can. I know the answer to his question. I've always known the answer, but I stay silent because I'm not sure I should answer him. That is so freaking selfish, and I hate her right now. He's clearly in agony. He wants to hear from her that she loves him even if they can't have children, that she'll choose him even if and she doesn't want to answer him. Like, what is wrong with her? Like, the reason she's saying that the reason she doesn't want to answer him is because he can be so much more without me, is what she says. So she's trying to like be selfless, but she's being selfish because he demonstrates to her that he wants her and no one else, but she's trying to, I don't understand. And this conversation, like, they were having a good conversation up until that moment, and now she just really pissed me off. So I finally finished the book, and I have to say it was really, really nice ending. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It was a complete turnaround from how I felt when I read November 9. I hated the way that book ended. It was the reason why I ended up hating the whole book. But this book just ended so nicely. It ended so well and so happy. I'm so happy that they had their happily ever after in the end, because they couldn't have children. Obviously, they kind of just accepted that, and they ended up adopting a puppy, and it was really all sweet. I do wish that she had gotten her happy ending and she was able to get pregnant, or in the end that they were able to adopt a child, but it was nice the way it ended regardless. I am giving this book 4 stars. It will be my first Colleen Hoover book that I have enjoyed, and I loved it. It was a great, great book, and I'm glad I picked it up. I'm glad I gave Colleen Hoover a second chance.